Between 1913 and 1932, the motto, "Kill the Indian, save the man," was the mantra of Indian Affairs Officer Duncan Campbell Scott. Here to share his personal journey and the ramifications of a loss of identity in Indigenous culture is Dr. Suuqiina. What an honor to have you with us here today.
Thank you. Kuyana, we say. Thank you.
Kuyana.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Now, you were born in Alaska.
Yes.
Born in Nome, but your heritage, Mi'kmaq, Inuit, from King Island.
Yes.
Describe what you're wearing here today.
Well, this is called a cuspuk.
Cuspuk.
And this is a summer version. The winter versions are obviously full of furs and thicker and warmer. But we don't need that in the summertime. And I'm wearing a headdress of polar bear. And these are ermines. As you know, they're brown in the summer, but they turn white in the winter. So generally, the trappers get them in the winter for their white. And then I'm wearing a pair of traditional Alaskan mucklucks made by Annie Johnson when she was 96.
Oh, wow.
Her last pair that she made before she went home to heaven. And so we say, you know, never judge a man until you've walked a mile in their mucklucks. That way, you'll be a mile away when you have their mucklucks.
There you go. Now, you also mentioned that in the center of your headdress is something really significant to you.
Yes, this little pin up here is a U.S. Special Forces Armed Services pin. And I got a letter in the mail with the pin inside of it, and it was a soldier serving in Iraq. And he said, I watched a message of yours on YouTube, and I came to know the Lord. So he said, I wanted to send you my pin because he said you're a true warrior in the kingdom.
Wow, what an honor.
Yeah.
And
so I put it in the center of my headdress for him.
Wow. Now, your colors, you said that the reason why the blue is significant, or why is the blue significant?
Well, each of the tribes, there's 227 tribes in Alaska, and they're not all Inuit. There's the Athabascans and Tlingit and so forth. So, but amongst the Inuit, each village basically has its own color scheme, so that when you're traveling around and they see your color, they know where you're from. So it's kind of an identifier.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I wear the Métis sash to represent my heritage.
Absolutely.
Now, you grew up with your mom in your traditional homelands.
Yes.
At 6 months, something happened.
She had come down with tuberculosis, TB, which is very common in the early 50s. And she left me on a doorstep in a little town called White Mountain, knowing that the people who found me would save me. And then she went on to a sanatorium for the next 2 or 3 years. And I stayed with the family until I was 18 months of age. And then I was put in a residential school where I stayed until I was 7. And then at 7 years of age, the Bureau of Indian Affairs did an experiment. And they sold 375 Alaska natives and 1,800 lower 48 natives to these non-native families just in an assimilation experiment. So I was brought to northern Minnesota, actually my brother and I, forbidden to speak our language or know anything about our heritage. And so your opening statement about kill the Indian, save the man, they were trying that in the early 60s. They didn't kill us, and Yahweh saved the man.
Thank God
Yeah.
that you're still here. Did you feel something was dying inside of you during that experiment?
Very frustrating. I know that my name, I was given a Euro name, all right, and forbidden to say Suuqiina. But the way I kept it alive was when I would brush my teeth in the morning, I would look in the mirror and I would say to myself, I am Suuqiina. And I kept the name all through. And then as I got older, we could legally change our names. Well, let me put it in this perspective. In October 30th of 1999, the legislature in Alaska changed the law so that we could use our native names legally. So then that's when I took Suuqiina full time.
Now,
Before that, we had to have 2 names, one Euro name for legal stuff and our native name for village life.
so double identity.
Yeah, double identity.
But you said that the Lord spoke to you.
Yes, I was actually running in Billings, Montana one day, and the Lord said, "What is your name?" And it startled me because I thought, man, if you don't know my name, I'm in serious trouble. But it was a directive thought, it was like, who are you? That kind of thing. And I remember saying right then, I am Suuqiina. And it just became solid in my thinking and my identity. I'm going to be Suuqiina. And it's an honorable name. I'm named after my great-grandfather who was a chief. So I shouldn't lose that, and Alaska shouldn't lose that.
Right. Now, today you do a lot of work with restoration, reconciliation.
Yes.
Part of that work is the restoration of Indigenous musical instruments.
Yes.
So
this is a native flute, happens to be a double flute. We have our drums. There's lots of different native instruments, clapsticks and rattles. Different tribes make different styles of rattles, that sort of thing. And we're told to worship him in spirit and in truth. And I can use other cultures' instruments, but I really want to use my culture's instruments because they can be used to glorify the Creator. So my drum is not demonic. I mean,
now you had said something powerful about how you had to make the choice because there's a lot of people who would call this evil.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who would find the drum evil, but what's the choice you had to make for yourself?
Well, I had to understand that the term Christianity is not indicative of monoculturalism, that the body of Messiah is not a single race or identity, that the gospel fits into all the cultures of the world. And Satan's not a creator. He can only pervert what has been created. So if Yahweh made my culture, then he made my language, obviously, from the Tower of Babylon. And he gave us the geography where we live, the food that we eat. And he inspired our people with the art and the music and the dances and the instruments. And those are all redeemable. Yes, perverted people can use them, like anybody playing a piano can be perverted and not using it to glorify God, but the churches don't kick a piano out because some other person is using it improperly. So, yeah, there might be Inuit people that are using our drum improperly, but they don't control me and the spirit I'm after. I'm after the Holy Spirit. So I'm not trying to conjure up some ancestral spirit or something like that. That's their business, not mine. I know my business is to glorify Yahweh.
So good. Now, what are you seeing when the restoration of the musical instruments? What's the impact when that's restored?
A lot of times when we go into places like Native communities and they see that we can wear our regalia, which we don't, this is not a costume. In fact, to the Native community, I tell them, this is your priestly garments. Be proud of what the Creator gave you. Appear before him in your priestly garment and worship him with your priestly instruments. Many times there's weeping that breaks out because they've been wanting that, longing for that expression for so long. And like in the Inuit community in Alaska, we only have one worship song in our language that's original to us. All the rest of them are Euro hymns that were translated. And I'm calling forth the song spirit of David to rise up in our people and say, you people are talented. Write songs in our language that express our hearts and our land and our people and our nature where we live that glorify him. So there's nothing wrong with Euro hymns. I love them. But they don't completely represent who I am. So, and I say that for all cultures, the Germans living here need to write some German hymns, not just translated English hymns. They need to be authentic.
Right, which is who you are as a person, Dr. Suuqiina. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know this isn't our last time seeing you, and we wish you all the best as you go and continue the work of reconciliation.
Thank you.